The internet's collective opinion on Pride and Prejudice adaptations tends to follow a script. The 1995 miniseries is a masterpiece, and the 2005 film is a disaster best left unmentioned unless someone's in the mood to mock it. That reputation sets a pretty strong tone before even hitting play. The 1995 version delivers what it promises. It's detailed, faithful, and easy to enjoy. But the 2005 film, despite its many criticisms, also has its strengths. It's not a disaster. It's not even bad. It's just different. And walking into it with tempered expectations makes a big difference. First off, let's talk about Elizabeth herself. Jennifer Ehle's performance is easily closer to the book. She's charming, sparkling, and witty, but with just the right amount of restraint. Her teasing has limits, and she knows how far to take a joke. And yes, she actually does have rather fine eyes. Keira Knightley's Lizzie seems designed to appeal to a modern audience. She's more dramatic, more emotional, a bit more biting. The hair and costumes weren't exactly period accurate, but that's not on her. And despite the modernization, her version still works. It's not book Lizzie, but it's close enough that it doesn't feel like a betrayal. Based on everything floating around online, you'd think Matthew Macfadyen's Darcy was just some shy, awkward guy with no pride at all. Turns out, that's not the case. He's proud, just in a different way. The first proposal may not be quite insulting enough, but he's still rude and still clearly convinced of his superiority. In fact, both Darcys end up being pretty comparable. Colin Firth's version gets a lot of love, and understandably so. He nails the brooding intensity. But he's a bit too stiff. Darcy is supposed to be able to smile once in a while, and he can actually make jokes. In the miniseries, the shift in his personality during the second half feels abrupt, almost like someone flipped a switch. Matthew Macfadyen's take, on the other hand, is more consistent. That's not to say the 2005 script doesn't make some weird choices, especially in a couple of scenes near the end, but that's on the screenwriter, not the actor. Both Janes are sweet and believable. No complaints there. The only odd thing is how hard both versions try to convince us Jane is the undeniable beauty of the family, when Lizzie is at least just as pretty, if not more so. The other sisters are appropriately annoying across the board, as they should be. The 1995 versions look a bit too old for the roles, but not so much that it breaks anything. The 2005 sisters come off slightly more grounded, which makes the family dynamic feel less chaotic, but also less true to the book. There's a level of dysfunction in the Bennet household that shouldn't be smoothed over too much. Brenda Blethyn might actually have the edge as Mrs. Bennet. Alison Steadman's version is a lot. Entertaining, yes, but very loud, very shrill, and not exactly subtle. Critics say the 2005 Mrs. Bennet is portrayed too sympathetically. And sure, she's toned down a bit, but she's still plenty annoying. Adding a little nuance doesn't suddenly make her likable. Mr. Bennet, though, there's just no way around it. He's a bad father and a bad husband, no matter how funny his one-liners are. Benjamin Whitrow's version sticks closer to the book. Dry, dismissive, and quietly cruel when you stop to think about it. Donald Sutherland is easier to tolerate, but mostly because he feels like a softer version of the character. Less accurate, more bearable. Simon Woods in the 2005 version plays Bingley like a well-meaning but slightly dim member of the Drones Club. He's funny and sort of adorable, but doesn't exactly radiate intelligence. Crispin Bonham Carter was more balanced, still friendly and open, but not quite as much of a caricature. Both Miss Bingleys lean too far into the evil schemer energy. There's not a lot of subtlety. It's a toss-up between them, though Anna Chancellor being related to Jane Austen is admittedly a fun little bonus. Wickham is disappointing in both versions. Adrian Lucas in the 1995 one is too obviously slimy. He's supposed to be charming, not radiating "do not trust this man" energy from the first frame. Rupert Friend does a little better on that front, but he's too whiny and spends half his screen time fishing for sympathy. The ponytail doesn't help either. In both cases, Lizzie's attraction to him makes her look a little too gullible. Yes, she's meant to be blinded by prejudice, but still, someone that shady shouldn't be fooling her so easily. It kind of undercuts her intelligence. Mr. Collins is tricky. David Bamber is funny and cartoonish, but Tom Hollander brings something drier and more uncomfortable. He's awkward, formal, and clearly thinks he's doing everything right. That works. Honestly, the portrayal in the 80s miniseries might have been the best. Still funny, but with just enough sincerity that you can tell he means well. It's hard to hate Mr. Collins because he's not malicious. He's just being himself. In a world that includes Wickham and Caroline Bingley, hating Collins seems like a waste of time. Comparing the two versions gets tricky here. The 1995 adaptation has nearly 5 hours to work with. The 2005 movie has a little over 2, so naturally, some plot points get streamlined or reworked. One of the biggest differences is how Lizzie's feelings toward Darcy are handled. In the film, it almost feels like she likes him from the start and then becomes prejudiced. That makes her change of heart easier to follow on screen, but it also isn't how it happens in the book. Still, to be fair, adapting that internal shift from page to screen is hard. The novel gives you access to Lizzie's thoughts in a way no film can. The 1995 version keeps the book's timeline, but Lizzie's shift feels a bit abrupt. The 2005 version alters the structure, but it at least makes her emotional arc feel smoother, even if it's technically wrong. Of course, there are also the obvious complaints about the 2005 film. The Bennets are portrayed as dirt-poor farmers, complete with pigs and laundry in the front yard, which is just wrong. The Bennets weren't rich, but they weren't living in a barn either. The costuming choices veer wildly off course, and the house looks like it belongs in Wuthering Heights. Still, the 2005 version has one undeniable advantage: cinematography. It's gorgeous. The lighting, the framing, the atmosphere, it all looks incredible. That ballroom scene where the crowd disappears and it's just Lizzie and Darcy, the mirror with the light shifting over Lizzie's face. Beautiful stuff. Is it faithful to the book? No. Does it look amazing? Absolutely. On the whole, the 1995 adaptation is trying to bring the novel to life as faithfully as possible. The 2005 film is trying to be a movie first and an adaptation second. And that changes everything, both the strengths and the weaknesses. There's much more that could be said, but let's be honest, there probably always will be. At some point, you have to stop somewhere. The 1995 Pride and Prejudice is definitely the better adaptation of the book, but the 2005 version still holds up as an enjoyable film in its own right. Both have their problems, and both have their moments. And despite everything that doesn't quite work in either one, both are still worth watching. So, what do you think? Do you prefer the 1995 Pride and Prejudice or the 2005 version? Do the inaccuracies of the 2005 movie spoil it for you?